Hey everyone, I'm Gary Hibner, and in this video series, I'm going to take you through the new updates and features in Bitwig 5 and how you can use them in your songs and productions. Starting off, I want to take a look at the updates to the new browser and how this makes it more user-friendly and easy to navigate your instruments and effects and how to pull them into your songs and projects. So to get to the browse panel, you just click over here and it shows you this browse panel on the right here. And they've made some changes over here. If you click here, you can see all your sources, showing a nice sort of graphic display of all the packages that are installed in your system, or maybe ones that you do want to install. Then you can click over here to go over to your collections. And in your collections, you can mark items as favorites and create your own collections. And I will show you later in this video series how you can create your own collections and how you can quickly and easily jump between them to help you speed up your workflow in your songs. You can also browse by kind. So here you can either see all the instruments. So as I click there, I'm going to see all the instruments in Bitwig. I can click here to go back there and then source to other things. So maybe I only want to see the bass instruments. And as I click there, it filters out and shows me only bass presets and instruments that I can use in my production. And if I click back here, you've also got your locations. So over here, you can set up locations that you use regularly on your system so you can easily navigate to them. Maybe you've got a folder with samples that you want to add here that you can quickly use and bring into your productions. Now, another big update to the system is the contextual pop-up menus. So if I click over here, it's going to pop up a browser for me. And this looks pretty much exactly the same as this browser. So I can close this down. I can click over here to show my packages and collections. On these little quick icon views over here, I can click to see everything. So this is going to show me everything on my system. So all my effects, all my instruments, all my presets and all of that. Or I can filter it down by using these icons over here. So if I click here, it's going to show me all my instruments. This is going to be all my effects. These are note effects, my plugins on my system, my user library, and then favorites that I've saved. And like I mentioned, it is very contextual based. So depending on what you have selected, it's going to bring up a different pop-up menu. So for example, if I just clicked over here in the range area, I can choose what I want to see. But if I go to something else, for example, let me open up my panel over here on the bottom. I'm going to select my instruments over here. And if I go to the end of the chain, when I click over here, it knows that I want to add an audio effect. So it jumps to the audio effects section here, and I can browse here to see audio effects. Likewise, if I cancel this and go to a drum instrument, so I've got an empty drum instrument here, if I click on one of the sample pads over here, it's going to bring up my drums, and maybe I want to take an E clap, add that to E1, take a tom, add that to F1, and so on. So as you can see, it's very contextual based. Depending on what plus sign I click, it's going to jump to that section of the browser. So just some other examples of Bitwig's very intelligent detection of the context when you're clicking on these plus signs. For example, if I'm on an instrument here and I click the plus sign before the instrument, it's going to know that I want to add a note effect. So I could, for example, add the humanize right there before the effect. And as well, if I go, for example, to the section over here and click the plus sign over here, it's going to jump quickly to the modulators and I can choose the modulator that I want to add into that section. Also, if I'm in my scenes here and I click here, it's going to detect that I want to add some clips and it's going to jump to the note clips for me. Another thing that's also been updated on the browser is the autocomplete section. So if I go to the browse section here and I type drums, it's going to have this little tabbed section over here that's going to give me an indication that I want to jump to my drum presets. So I can just press tab or I can click on that and it's going to jump to my drum presets. Or maybe I want to look for a bass instrument. I can go to basses and it jumps me there. So as you can see, it's very contextual based and it's using some advanced AI over here to detect what I'm typing. Now, jumping back to the pop-up menu over here, these are your quick sources and you can quite easily add your own sources here. For example, if I go to everything over here and I like this freeform library and I use it quite a bit, I can just drag it over here, just choose a slot. So there I'm adding the freeform library as a quick source. I can quickly click there and it'll show me all the Bitwig presets for it. I could jump to the samples and maybe even show the wavetables that are used in the freeform. Now, what I want to talk about next is how you can create your own collections. Like you see here, I've started by creating a collection for any bell sounds. Now, let me show you how this is done. So I'm going to cancel out of this. I'm going to click this plus sign again to bring up the pop-up menu. I want to look for some pad sounds. So I'm just going to type pad over here. Now let's select a pad and hear what it sounds like. So I like this bell fractal pad over here. So what I can do now is go over to the section over here and click the plus sign. Now I can create a pad collection for this. I can also give it a specific color. So maybe I want to label my pads green. Now you'll see it creates a new favorite section here for my pads. And as you see, I've also got a collection for my bells. Now, if I wanted to add this bell fractal to my bell section as well, I can just click on here and add it to the bells. Also, what's really nice is you've got shortcut keys. So as you can see, my bells collection is going to 1 and my pad selection is going to 2. So let's say I go to this additive pad and I really like the sound of it. I can just hit 2, and as you can see, it's added it to the pads. It's added the green color. I can go to pad windy. Maybe I want to add that to the pads as well. I can click there. So as you start building up your collections, there's going to be a list of collections that you've got over here with a specific number assigned to it. And while you're browsing through presets, maybe you want to use a preset at a later stage, but you really like the sound of it, then you can just use the numpad key to quickly dial in those numbers that are assigned to those collections. Now, one more thing I just want to talk about is when you click on a pop-up window, it brings up a specific category. So for example, if I go to my audio track over here and I click this plus sign, it's going to bring up the audio effects, and these audio effects are categorized by the category. So as you can see, you've got all the different categories here. But what if every time I click that plus sign for an audio effect, I want it to list it by creator? Well, then I can just select the creator tag. I can right click on it, go to browser settings and say use current selections for this context when I'm opening up an empty audio track. So I'll click on that. Now, if I go over here and click again, as you can see, when I click it, it starts up now by showing the creators. And if I want to, I could always go back to a category by right click on it, going browser settings and say restore defaults for current context. So it's just nice being able to choose which category you want when you click up those pop-up windows. And all of these actions are just going to help streamline the way you work and improve your workflow. So that's the rundown on the new updates to the browser. As you can see, there's been a big improvement to it, and the big drive has been to make things smoother, easier, and faster when you're using the browsing windows.